It is now here. Instead of just watching the movies we love, what if we could take things from it and apply it to our lives to make us better? Join me, Jag Dewar, and my two brothers, Max and Billy Sainville, as we decode messages in movies to apply them to our lives. This podcast is for you. Decrypted Films Podcast. It's fake. There's no cord. Yeah. So, our movie today is Alita, Battle Angel. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys think of the movie? I know this is spoiler alert. If you didn't see the movie, we're just talking freely. We're talking as if you saw the movie. So, if you didn't see it, we're giving up a lot of stuff. But anyway, what did you guys think of the movie?
I thought it was great. Like, excellent. Like when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh man, that looks like it's going to be a great movie. And the trailer met the expectation of how great I thought the movie was, plus some. So I'm probably going to go see it again.
So that was Billy for you guys that don't know. Yeah, you guys are the ones who actually told me about it. I didn't know too much about it. I saw the trailer, and actually the trailer didn't give me enough. I thought, okay, cool. Maybe I'll see, maybe I won't. But it wasn't until you guys saw it that I was like, yo, they really, really want me to see this. What about you, Max? What did you think about this?
I thought the same. I felt the same. I mean, when I saw the trailer, I was like, whoa, okay. You know, I was always about like the whole woman in power. Remember Tomb Raider, Underworld.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was always big on that female lead that does all these crazy kung fu or whatever. I saw that on the trailer. I was like, oh yeah, I'm seeing that automatically. Then I found out Billy was interested as well, so it was like, yo, let's go see that.
Oh, that's how it worked, huh?
No, you know what I'm saying?
Let me
then
tell
I was
you guys
like,
a story.
I try to call you and pick up your phone.
Real quick before we get into it, he was trying to talk over me because of the true story how they saw the movie.
Yo, mute his mic.
Wow. So I'm chilling. I'm looking on Find My Friends. I forgot who I was looking for. Come to find out, I see these two guys at the movie theater, and I'm thinking, wow, they went without me when they said they would see a movie with me that week. Well, anyway, come to find out, they saw the movie without me. I got pissed off, and now they saw it with me last week, so that's why I made it the first episode, because it was so good for me. I loved it. I thought it was probably an underrated as far as marketing movie. Like, I didn't feel like they pushed it.
They should definitely push that movie more. Because it's not meeting its mark right now, but I think they should have risked it to put it out there, because it's definitely worth it. People would have spoke about it, and more people would have went to go see it. So, but it still has a chance.
I feel like they probably was leaning onto the fact that it was anime series or something like that.
Just the name itself to promote it?
Yeah, because I think it was some type of cartoon series that already existed. I got to check my resources, see if I'm right or not. It was? Maybe they were weighing on that
people knew about it.
And it's from the producers of Avatar or something?
Yeah, John
so maybe then they were
James Cameron.
Off of the credit that it's from Avatar, the people. So
yeah, based off the name, because when I was looking into it, they mentioned kind of knowing it already. But all right, so I want to get to the good stuff. I want to get to the things that really stood out to me. I want you guys to tell me what you think and add on whatever you might think that would add to this. But for me, there was 3 things that I took while watching the movie that I thought, man, that is a good way to think about something, or a good life lesson. And so the first thing I want to talk about is Alita. When they did the practice kind of exhibition run for the motorball, just outside playing in the city. It wasn't the arena or anything. And I don't know the boyfriend's name. I wish I got the name. I should have. But
Hugo, is it?
Yeah, Hugo. There you go. Hugo tells Alita, hey, why don't you come play? Stuff like that. She's like, I don't know. Maybe, whatever. And she's very soft-spoken. That's why they call her the battle angel, because you wouldn't think she would slaughter you, but she's very nice, soft-spoken, and sweet. And he says something that hits me, and I'm like, man, see, that's the thing that I had to learn. So he said, the best way to learn is to go in. And I know that sounds small, but I want to tell you guys why this was important to me. The best way to learn is to go in, because she never played motorball or anything. And it immediately connected to me when I was talking to you guys years ago about like my video content that I wanted to do, like YouTube and all that stuff. And I was giving you guys mad ideas. And I think, Max, I don't know if you remember this, you actually got tired of me talking about it. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
Like, I was giving you one idea. I was like, what do you think about this type of series or this type of video? And then you remember kind of what you said and maybe why you said it?
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I just remember over and over you kept coming up with stuff that you wanted to do, but I didn't see any results, or I didn't see anything being done, any action being take place. So I think at that moment I just got fed up and told you exactly how I felt. It was like, yo, I need to see something. I'm tired of you talking.
Exactly. And the thing, this is me coming from it. I'm like, I have a dope idea. Let me come to you and say, oh, what do you think about this? Because I want to hear you say, oh, yeah, that'll work. Maybe tweak this and that, but that'll work. But you were like, listen, like, I'm tired of you saying ideas. Just do something. Let's see it. Let's see something. And at first, that kind of annoyed me because that's not what I wanted to hear at first. But then I thought about it. I'm like, dang, I've been giving these list of ideas and list of vision and dreams that I want to produce these videos, but I'm like, you kept saying, yo, you won't know if it'll work until you do it. And when Hugo said the best way to learn is to go in, honestly, the best way for me to have learned like this different video stuff or doing whatever I'm getting my hands in is just to jump in. And I started learning, I would not have learned that had I just been contemplating or dwelling. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree. Like you were saying, when you have something in front of you that you want to accomplish, you can't just, because I think with you and with others, they want to be strategic, but sometimes they're over strategic or they overthink. And
why is that? Why do you think people do that?
Because they don't want to mess up and they don't want to fail.
That's exactly it.
They're afraid to fail.
So they want to make sure they take every step that they could to avoid that.
See, my thing is that doesn't work. It's funny, we don't understand that with we don't look at it that way with other things. That's like saying, isn't that like saying, yo, Jordan going into the season, or LeBron or Kobe going into the season saying, yo, we're gonna do this winning 82 games. That'd be foolish to say that, but we understand that with sports, but we don't get it with our lives. Like I don't understand. Well, I feel like you guys are right about people just fearing failure. Not even failure, just making a mistake, because the so-called mistake takes away that perfectionist kind of thinking away. And I feel like that's like just insecurity. Like that's just straight up insecure, because you're allowing a mistake to tell you who you are, like to define you, saying you're flawed or you're not good enough off of one game you lost or one shot you missed. Like for me, I just think it's so weird that people would allow that to stop them from even trying, just at the potential, at the thought of making a mistake. I just think that's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny you use basketball analogies, because all teams say, it's a process. They know it's a process. They don't go into the season saying they're going to go 82-0. They say, we got to get the chemistry together. We got to tweak this and that. But by the time it's the playoffs, that's the most important thing. And so they know it's just a process. So when Hugo told her, the best thing to do is just go in, he knew that you got to start somewhere and you just got to, go with the process.
For real.
And not saying because there's ways when you go in, you're gonna expect to fail, and you should accept it. Going back to sports, like these teams know they might have an injury here and there, or they might get air balls, or might have a bad game, but they know that there's another day coming where they could start all over or play a new team, or because they're thinking about the end goal.
That's true.
So when they think about that, they're not it's great to think day by day, but knowing that you have a journey to go through, and what's coming at the end, whatever you go through, it's not going to affect that because you know where you're going at the end. You get what I'm saying?
For real, I think that's exactly it. I think the fact that people are not thinking too much of trying to win this championship. They're trying to. It's more short vision, short sighted.
Yeah,
like they're not thinking the long term. I just remembered a dope thing that Kobe said in an interview about Phil Jackson when Kobe was doing those crazy streaks like James Harden is doing now. Kobe was going crazy scoring because Shaq wasn't there yet because he was injured. Shaq came back, and then Phil Jackson pulls Kobe into his office and says, "Listen, I'm gonna need you to pull it back." And Kobe's like, "Well, we're winning. Like, why? Like, I'm scoring these crazy points. We're winning. Why would I do that?" And he's saying, "Listen, when we get to the playoffs, when we get to the championship, when we face the East, they can't handle Shaq. We need Shaq to go in. But if you're doing this, you pull away from Shaq being able to do his thing. We won't win a championship like this." And Kobe was just like, wow. Like, it's the big picture. It's not the right now rewards. And what's crazy is the right now reward for people. Sometimes it's like, yo, don't do it so I don't make a mistake. That's a reward. I avoided something. Like, I made an excuse. There was a reason. I feel good. I'm not scarred. But it's that thing you're saying, the long term. People need to start thinking about that championship versus right then and now. I don't want to miss a shot. It's crazy. Some people don't even want to miss shots in warm up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the next thing that I thought that was really speaking of, sorry, let me not miss this part. So she gets into the motorball game. It's just an outside thing that she's trying it out. And remember what happened? She gets hit hard, like rough by Hugo's friend, and says, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't care. You want to play. And she gets hit hard. The thing I love that was so dope was that Hugo went to try to pick her up, and she takes Alita takes his hand and pushes it. She's on the ground. Pushes his hand like, I'm gonna get up, looking straight at Hugo's friend like, I'm about to go get this guy, and basically she slaughters him. Like, that scene was so dope because all I loved was the fact that she pushed his hand away. Don't help me up. I'm not some little girl or anything like that. I'm about to go get this dude. I love that.
Notice that if you really look at it, I mean, like we're talking about failure and all that stuff, for her to activate that type of mentality, she had to kind of fail. She had to kind of fall.
See, that's a good point.
When she got back up, she was in a whole different level. Versus let's say somebody never pushed her or she didn't fall down, she would have been consistent, the same person throughout that whole round of game, until they leave. So
see, let me okay, that's such a good point. So what how many times are people missing out from that hit hard from Hugo's friend, and they're like saying how you're saying, Max, where it's just like, oh, everything's smooth, but it wasn't till, like you said, it activated this side. Like, how many times do we miss activations, like, to be able to, like, open up this thing because we failed or so-called got hit? So now you're saying basically failure, mistakes can activate something, and that we're missing out because we're not willing to make mistakes. That whole perfectionist crap is stupid. Like, it's messing everything up because we're missing out on new levels within ourselves. And I think it's a waste. The next part that hit me the most in this movie, I want to talk about the story. Now, I know we're talking about movies, story, whatever, but not in the sense of script or style or whatever. in Alita's world, basically, when I was watching it, when she woke up or she was remade, I forgot the doctor's name that she eventually called his father or her father. She basically, whatever somebody tells her at that moment, at that discovery time, that crafts her world. That basically crafts what she's going to believe and see. So whatever the doctor was saying, like, hey, this, hey, that, you're this, you're that, you're whatever. If Hugo says something, at that moment, whatever's being said, that's going to craft her world. And I thought that was scary, actually, because technically he was limiting her, not telling her, yo, you got this crazy ability, I know where you're coming from, I know what this means, that I found you here, you must have been this person, that person, craziness. She had to discover that. But before, she thought like, oh, I'm just some simple girl, I'm a simple sweet girl. And so what scared me was that how much of our world is telling us who we kind of are, as far as saying like, hey, this is the story, this is who you are, and we just take it in and accept it and not believe that, wait, maybe we're more than what the story is crafting in our heads. You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah, even it's like you said, it is scary. Like even the closest people to you could block your
For
potential.
real. And that's what happened.
And he was the closest thing to her, and he was kind of holding her full potential back. It's not just, people who are trying to bring you down or haters or naysayers and stuff like that. Sometimes it could be, people who are like real close to you, like
closest people.
You don't want to take that risk. You don't want to,
because of safety, right?
Yeah, like they don't want to see you fail, which we just spoke about. Failure is something that could activate, a fight in us that takes us to the next level. So, but yeah. We can definitely have people around us that block us from being able to grow.
Wow.
And it's not until that they actually, when they see that growth, then they want to jump onto the bandwagon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This was hard and good, because that's kind of what I got out of it, in parallels to another subject that I want to talk to you about. But Alita, yeah, she was basically birthed into this world and fed information, which she had to accept. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's being placed. But one thing I've noticed, if you kind of parallel it to this world, is with education, is with history. We've been fed a lot, but there's a lot of missing history that we're not being told. Which it could go by culture, it could go by a lot of missing pieces that if we knew that history, we might be able to understand certain potentials that we have based on what happened in the past, which was being not told by the doctor. He knew what kind of weapon she was, but he tried to give her a new life that she wasn't built for,
because he lost his daughter.
So I mean, it's that's one thing I want to talk about, but then I want to talk about the doctor holding a child back from being the potential that they could be, based on a parent being trying to navigate the child to go a certain direction, when that child should have the opportunity to explore all directions, and being able to have all the information that child should have to be able to be who that child could be. And, as parents, and I'm not a parent, but just in general, I've seen and heard stories how parents would feed their child only certain information so they could have that child go to certain directions to be a particular person. You know what I'm saying? To be a doctor because the father was a doctor, or to be a nurse because the mother was a nurse. You know what I'm saying? Versus like, let me show you everything, and then you choose what you were meant to be, the direction you were chosen to be. And I think that's a big thing, we're failing to understand as parents in this, world.
See, I totally agree. And I agree. I hear a lot about, and everything you guys were saying goes back to the person who is trying to so-called protect but kind of withhold information or their talent or whatever it is. These things that are crafting the other person's story, they all have an agenda. Like they all have an agenda, and when I think about that, I think about either movies, like we're talking about. Every like song, every note, every scene, everything has an agenda to make you feel a certain way, to make you see the movie a certain way. Each sound is meant to build an experience for their agenda. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It's just maybe they just want you to enjoy a movie. They either want you to be scared, like scary movies, they pick certain songs. Comedy picks a certain song. Romance picks certain music to get you into that place. And when I think about that, I think about how each person around you may have an agenda that may not be suited for you to fully blossom as a person that you're supposed to be or meet your highest, potential, because they're coming in with their agenda that, like you said, with the parents might limit you. So I think about like, how do we look around us and see what agenda is kind of limiting us and what agenda is helping us? Like, do you guys have any thoughts on that? On how do you determine who or what to believe or not to believe for your story, for what's going on in your world?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even with that question, if you were to ask it based on the movie, you can think about what Alita did. You know what I mean? One of the things she did is like she didn't give up on her passion of wanting to find out who she was and stuff like that. And
True.
I remember as she continued in that passion, she found her real body, her real make. And she was like, I feel a connection to this and I can't even, explain it.
Nice.
And she was just, so passionate about that. And then, eventually she got it and that's how she was able to go. So if you I think answering that question is how you grow is you just gotta, whatever that thing you feel connected to, you just gotta go after it.
For real. And to add to that same exact scene, so I love what you said, that she followed her passion, which was so true. That guided her to where she needed to go. But not only that, when she found that suit, where was that suit? It was outside the whole city where she was comfortable in. They went outside the city walls, far where there was supposedly nothing. They found this ship which had the suit, and made me think about the fact that there's times where we got to get out of our normal, regular comfort zone to be able to discover that suit, or AKA that thing that makes you connected. So that whole only sticking to things of what you know, or sticking to the areas that you're most comfortable with because it's predictable. Like, I already know the city, I've been around there. But when they went outside and found new things, that's because she got out of her comfort. That passion drove her out of her comfort, and that's why I love it. It wasn't something like, yo, I'm gonna go out of my comfort zone. It's just like, nah, this is just where my passion's taking me. If it's taking me out of my comfort zone, I don't care. I need to find out who I am. And I feel like, dang, man, if we had that attitude of want to know who am I, what am I capable of, it'll help us push us out of our comfort rather than trying to drive ourselves or pull ourselves out of our comfort.
Man, it's crazy how this writing was so amazing on this film. And I just want to add from what you both said about passion and, going out and find it and continue to chase it. Let's talk about this boat scene, because how it was so powerful, and the way she had to get to her body was that she had to go underwater. Where
nobody else wanted to do it.
But you notice that one of the questions, or one of the things that was said, it was like, yeah, how long could she hold her breath for? Because they already know themselves that they can't hold their breath. So like, they can't be sent to a place. Like, it's just crazy. Why would you go down there? You're gonna run out of air, But she was so driven to get to her passion, is that she was like, you know what, I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna hold my breath, knowing that I might not be able to breathe, or something might happen. She didn't know whether that door was gonna open or not.
For real.
But you're underwater.
You don't have time.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you go to that door to get to the command center, knowing that door might not open, that still might be underwater? you only have a certain amount of time to hold in your oxygen before you start panicking. You know, so how do you, as people, how do we strive to our passion and hold our breath, or not even worry about breathing and just get there?
I think she being us, she would have to be tired, like fed up and tired enough to just do it. Like she has to be disgusted enough of where she is and wanting so badly to know who she is to push a person to do that. Because you can't be half pregnant with it, like whatever. She had to go all in, and I think that's the driving force. It's just like, yo, I'm tired of being where I am. Like, I want to know. Of course, everybody wants a suit. But the only ones who would take that risk, you said, Max, like going underwater, would be the ones who are like, I'm just tired of not knowing. It's time.
Yeah. One big thing that I really understand is that she understood that even in general, no one is going to be as passionate for your passion as you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
You'll have supporters who, push you or say all of these things, but they're not going to do the work for you, and they're not going to lose sleep over something you're passionate about. So, like you guys said, she went out of her comfort to continue and to do what she felt that she needed to do in order to chase that. Like, even the doctor, like, she came back with the body, but she was still passionate. Like, she didn't want to give up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's just another thing that once you find that stride, you just got to keep, going after it.
For real, man. I love it. Man, time is flying, but I want to talk about, I don't know if you had something, Max, you said you probably wanted to bring up.
It's more about the body and graduating to a new body. And I kind of want to use that metaphorically as what we have access to. There's tools and there's things around us for us to get to our passion. But if we feel like, oh, this car only goes to 60 miles per hour, but I'm trying to make this car goes to 120 miles per hour. She was so driven to know who she was and dig deep to know about herself that she drove that suit 60 miles per hour till it fell apart.
Yeah.
Till she was like, you know what? I'm just gonna destroy this car and use it to its maximum ability. Yes, to fullest ability.
What's crazy? I was thinking about how long is this body gonna last with her using it like this?
Yeah, but it's crazy because if you really think about it, the way she graduated and knew she needed an upgrade was when she lost all her limbs, but was left with one arm, where she had that memory and that flashback that really defined who she was. She was down. Man. She was literally, it's like us in the hospital just be like, oh, I lost it all. But I know, I had a memory that helped me get back up and out of that bed or whatever. I'm just using that metaphorically, but there's so many scenarios where we could lose everything and be down to just one last breath of fresh air that would make us full all over again. It only takes that one breath of fresh air to reconnect us and make us even stronger.
What's crazy? The fact that you brought up that she had to go to the max with the body that she had, what that was given. That was like when she did everything that she could to the point where she lost her limbs, like you said. That's when the people outside, like the doctor, said, you know what, you're right. Like, I see what you're saying now. We got to get you that. I got to connect you to the other body. And it wasn't that she was like, he said, no, I'm not gonna connect you to this body, and she just gave up. I'm done. She was like, all right, I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna use what I got to the fullest, and that's when other people saw like, wow. And I think about how people, when they hear you talk about what you want to do, and they're like, okay, okay, cool,
Yeah.
whatever.
They're like,
I just need a
whatever.
little help. Do you mind? It's like, listen, I'm busy. And then it's like, all right, cool. You go in and say, I'm doing whatever I'm gonna do. And when they see that ball rolling like crazy, you said it earlier. Like then they say, oh, I'm gonna jump on now. I get it, and not jump on a negative
Sometimes
way,
it's
but
positive.
to believe you. Like, okay, you're not playing. You're serious about this. You've made me passionate about it now. Now I wanna help.
Yeah, I want to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a negative thing, but it's also positive.
So yeah, she inspired the doctor, I guess, from what you just said. That's how he jumped on. Like he saw the inspiration of how she used everything she got to do what, you know, she wanted to do and be who she wanted to be. He's like, yeah, you know, let me, you know, reach out and, you know, help her get to that next step. You know what I mean?
For real, yo.
Man, it's just great to talk about just that segment, because it's like now I'm looking at myself as like, am I really using all my wheels and, you know, riding to the wheels fall off and letting people see that, to the point where they see how serious I am and they see what I could do to help others, where they would help me get to where I need to go, because obviously you need people around you to get there. I think at some points or many times, maybe I'm not riding to the wheels fall off. And I think this was a great example for me to understand. It's like, all right, I need to push this car 60 miles per hour, because I'm probably not. I'm probably doing 50.
Yeah.
You know?
And you think you're doing it, but it's like.
And I'm here thinking I need a new car that could push 120, but I'm only doing 50 miles per hour when this car could do 60. You get what I'm saying?
You haven't graduated with this yet.
Yeah, it's like, yo,
You
you.
didn't even lose your limbs yet.
Yeah,
you
I'm like,
just-
yo, you still all together. Like, you're not trying. You're not trying to fail. You know, you're not trying to drown. You know. But,
yeah, man. I again, that theme of just trying to see how far you can push yourself, and again, none of that even you're not even in the conversation at this point. If you're afraid to make mistakes, if you're afraid to fail, if you're not going to allow yourself to be activated by a loss, by a mistake, or whatever. If you enjoyed the great content from this episode, share this with somebody who could use it. We are dropping these weekly, so don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. We would greatly appreciate it. And thank you for joining us on the Decrypted Films podcast. Catch you on the next one. On this episode, we discuss how you should actually expect to fail and make mistakes. We also talk about how the story in your head could be hurting you more than you know. And lastly, we talk about a key element that will drive you to do crazy things on your journey.